Hello, sweetheart. The morning is the open door to your destiny. Each dawn is a blank canvas painted with the colors of your own consciousness. What you speak, what you think, what you expect, these are the brushstrokes that design your day. Every morning, the universe awaits your command, listening for the vibration of your words. And yet so many rise with complaints instead of confidence, with worry instead of wisdom. They forget that their words are wands, that thought and speech are the invisible architects of all experience. Listen every morning, no excuses, for excuses are the thieves of miracles. The moment you make one, you chain your spirit to limitation. But when you rise in the light of new possibility and declare, "This is my day of good, this is my hour of divine opportunity," all forces of life rush to fulfill your decree. The unseen powers move, rearrange, and conspire in your favor. You need not see how, you need only believe that it is so. The morning is sacred. It is your spiritual workshop, where you align your inner word with the infinite mind. As you awaken, before the noise of the world enters, listen to the still voice within, that calm assurance that says, "All is well." It is not wishful thinking. It is truth. It is the law of your own being reminding you that harmony, abundance, and strength are already yours. When you listen each morning, you remember that you are not a beggar of fate, but the designer of it. No excuses, because the law does not recognize them. It only mirrors your consciousness. Say, "I am tired," and you create more fatigue. Say, "I am renewed, I am powerful, I am guided," and life will echo your affirmation with matching experience. Every morning is a rehearsal for the life you will live. Speak victory before breakfast, and success will meet you at the door. Many wait for the world to change before they do. But the world is only a shadow of the self. As within, so without. Listen each morning, not to fear, not to circumstance, but to truth. The truth that says, "You are one with the source that never fails." The moment you tune your heart to that frequency, doors open where there were none. Ways appear where all seemed lost. Let no morning pass unclaimed. Before your feet touch the floor, decree what shall be. Say, "Today, I am in perfect harmony with the divine plan of my life. Nothing and no one can oppose my good." Feel it, know it, for the morning listens, and the universe always obeys the voice of faith. Listen every morning, no excuses, for the dawn is your ally, the word your wand, and your belief the key that unlocks every treasure life holds for you. Words are wands. Speak only creation, never limitation. Every word you utter carries vibration, and every vibration shapes form. The universe listens, not to your wishes, but to your words. Your speech is the magic thread that weaves the pattern of your life. The careless phrase, the idle complaint, the sigh of doubt, all are seeds planted in the fertile soil of the unseen. And as surely as the seed becomes the tree, the word becomes the world you inhabit. Many imagine their speech to be powerless chatter, but nothing is without consequence. Each sentence, each tone, each whisper of thought sent forth into the ether returns with perfect accuracy, bringing back to you its likeness. If you speak of lack, you summon lack. If you speak of confusion, you summon confusion. If you speak of divine order, peace, and plenty, you summon the perfect rhythm of good into every circumstance of your life. The word is your instrument of creation, and it is through conscious speech that you take dominion over the conditions around you. When you say, "I can," you release a force that sets invisible currents into motion. When you say, "I can't," you close the gate of power. The laws of life are impartial. They do not reason, they do not judge. They simply echo your declaration. The universe is a grand mirror, reflecting the tone of your command. It is not enough to merely think good thoughts if your tongue contradicts your faith. You must guard your speech as a sacred flame, protecting it from the winds of fear, criticism, and doubt. The magician does not speak carelessly, for he knows his word is his wand. So too must you speak with intent, aware that language is energy clothed in sound. Every affirmation, every prayer, Every statement of belief becomes a mold through which substance flows. If you say, "Nothing ever works for me," the law, obedient as ever, will confirm your decree. But if you say, "Everything unfolds perfectly for my highest good," that same law will align people, places, and events to fulfill your spoken command. The greatest misstep in human speech is the casual confession of limitation. Words like never, impossible, hopeless, or too late are not harmless expressions. They are bindings that tie the soul to mediocrity. When you say, "I never have enough," you write a contract with lack. When you say, "I always fail," you summon failure to attend you faithfully. Yet the reverse is just as true. Speak of success, and success hastens to your side. Speak of harmony, and discord dissolves. The law of vibration does not rest. Every word sends out its own color, its own tone, its own rhythm, and the universe paints your experience in the same shade. You are surrounded by the evidence of your former words. The conversations you have had, the stories you have repeated, the complaints you have entertained, all have taken form around you. But you are never bound by the past, for the word spoken in new understanding erases the old decree. When you replace words of fear with words of faith, you alter the pattern of your destiny. Say to yourself each day, "Every word I speak is a seed of power. Every phrase I utter is charged with divine intelligence. My speech is pure, my intention clear, my results inevitable." By this, you train your tongue to serve the higher law. When you recognize that speech is creative, you begin to measure it with reverence. You no longer speak to fill silence, you speak to give life. You begin to listen to yourself, to catch the vibrations of your own tone. You notice whether your words build or destroy, whether they bless or curse, whether they open doors or close them. You realize that every phrase either adds light or casts shadow, and when you choose the light, you become the master of your fate. To speak only creation is to affirm only truth. Truth is never found in limitation. It is never found in complaint, fear, or despair. Truth declares, "I am whole. I am guided. I am complete. All that I require is here now." When your words align with truth, they possess creative fire. They go forth and do not return void. They become channels through which divine power flows, unresisted. This is why it is said that every idle word shall be accounted for, because even the idle word moves substance. To use your words rightly is to harmonize with the great creative law of the universe. You are not meant to speak from circumstance, you are meant to speak to it. If appearances suggest defeat, declare victory. If all evidence shows lack, affirm abundance. The outer world bends to the conviction of the spoken word, for it is the reflection of the inner decree. The unseen listens before the seen responds. When you say, "I am strong," even when you feel weak, strength begins to organize itself within your cells. When you say, "I am guided," though the path seems dark, light begins to appear before your next step. Words of creation carry authority because they are backed by faith. Faith is the unseen power that animates your speech and gives it substance. When you speak in fear, you drain your words of life. But when you speak in certainty, when you speak from the consciousness of divine partnership, every word becomes a living command. The energy of creation is obedient to conviction. The universe does not respond to empty phrases, but to words clothed in belief. Therefore, let your words rise from inner knowing, not from habit or reaction. To speak only creation requires discipline, for the tongue is swift and often unguarded. It requires awareness, an inner watchfulness that pauses before expression. It asks you to feel the vibration of every phrase before releasing it into the world. But as you practice, speech becomes sacred ritual. You find that your words carry light, that they shift the atmosphere of rooms, that they inspire peace where once there was discord. You begin to feel the creative current flowing through you, shaping, building, and blessing all that you touch. Every time you speak, you are sending forth an order into the vast workshop of the universe. The forces of life are listening, waiting for your instruction. Do not confuse them with contradictions. Speak one language, the language of faith, joy, and certainty. Let your words be firm, clear, and radiant with purpose. Speak of the good you desire as though it were already complete, for in truth it is. The word spoken in faith calls into being the form that faith has already seen. Never speak against yourself, your dreams, or your destiny. Speak as one who knows that the universe is your ally. Speak health into your body, peace into your home, abundance into your affairs. Refuse to repeat the language of limitation. The moment you do, you reclaim your divine authority. Every sentence becomes a blessing, every phrase a step toward manifestation. Words are living things. They create worlds, shift energy, and command reality. To understand this is to wield power wisely. To forget it is to live by chance rather than by choice. Words are wands, each one charged with the energy of your belief. Speak only creation, never limitation. Speak from the awareness that the universe repeats what you declare. Speak light, and light will surround you. Speak joy, and joy will multiply. Speak faith, and faith will draw miracles from the invisible into form. The morning is sacred, align with divine power before the world speaks. Each dawn arrives like a silent messenger, bringing the chance to begin again. The air is pure, the light is gentle, and the veil between the seen and unseen is thin. In these early hours, the soul hears what the noise of the day conceals. The world still sleeps, but the spirit is awake, receptive, open to the whisper of divine intelligence. To rise with awareness is to meet this sacred stillness before the clamor of human thought begins to stir. The morning is not merely a time of day, it is a temple, an altar, a holy meeting between you and the infinite. The first moments after waking are a bridge between two worlds, the world of spirit and the world of form. What you think, what you feel, what you affirm in those moments sets the rhythm of your entire day. If you rush into the noise of the world without alignment, you enter chaos unarmed. But if you begin by turning inward, by acknowledging the presence of divine order and love, the day unfolds under your direction rather than against your will. The morning determines the measure of your power, for it determines the quality of your consciousness. To align with divine power is not a ritual of superstition. It is a choice to remember who you are before the distractions of life try to make you forget. When you awaken, you are closest to your true nature. The mind is still soft like clay, ready to be molded by intention. In that sacred hour, you can speak directly to the creative substance of the universe, unclouded by doubt or fear. It listens, eager to take shape according to your belief. That is why every morning should be approached with reverence, not as a routine to rush through, but as a moment to attune your vibration with the highest frequency of truth. Before you reach for the world, reach for your center. Before you open your eyes fully, open your heart. Say within, today I align myself with divine wisdom. I move in perfect harmony with the plan of good. The moment such words are spoken in faith, invisible power begins to move through you. The world begins to speak as soon as you step into it. It speaks through headlines, through devices, through voices carrying fear, conflict, and distraction. But before the world can speak, you must have already spoken. You must have already declared your alignment, already chosen the vibration you will hold. When you align first, you become the cause, not the effect. You carry peace into chaos, rather than letting chaos enter you. You move through the day with authority, not reaction. You become the master of circumstance, not its servant. The morning is sacred because it is your daily resurrection. You rise from the darkness of sleep as the light returns to the earth. And you are given another opportunity to remember that you are more than flesh and thought. You are spirit clothed in matter, a spark of divine intelligence expressing through form. In those first breaths of the day, you can sense that truth before the world's illusions take hold. That is the time to claim your power, to affirm your oneness with all that is good and eternal. The divine waits at the doorway of your awareness, ready to pour strength, clarity, and guidance into you the moment you open to receive it. When you wake without alignment, you become a wanderer in your own day, pulled by the shifting winds of outer events. But when you begin with connection, you are grounded in the unshakable foundation of spirit. Nothing can truly disturb the one who has anchored their consciousness in the divine before the world has spoken. Your peace becomes protection, your faith becomes shield and compass. Even as the day unfolds with its demands, the rhythm of your morning alignment remains steady within you. You carry the calm of the sacred into the noise of the ordinary. To align with divine power in the morning is to surrender every thought of separation. You release the illusion that you are alone, struggling, or lacking. You remember that every answer, every provision, every solution already exists within the infinite mind. You no longer start the day asking, "What must I do?" but declaring, "I am guided perfectly in all that I do." The energy of divine wisdom then directs your steps effortlessly. The burdens you carried yesterday dissolve in the light of new understanding. You walk forward not in reaction, but in purpose. The first words you speak in the morning are sacred. They are the seed thoughts that will blossom into the experiences of your day. If you speak anxiety, the day mirrors anxiety. If you speak peace, peace becomes the current carrying you forward. That is why one must guard the threshold of morning thought as carefully as a temple door. Let no negative declaration cross your lips. Let your first thoughts be thoughts of gratitude, for gratitude is the magnet that draws every good thing nearer. Say within, "I am grateful for this new day. I am grateful for the light that fills my mind and heart. I am grateful for the divine life that flows through me." Gratitude aligns the heart with abundance. It lifts the vibration instantly to the frequency where miracles dwell. The morning is also the time when intuition speaks most clearly. The chatter of the outer world has not yet begun, and the inner voice can be heard. When you take a few moments of stillness, when you listen without demand, inspiration rises like the sun. You may feel a quiet urge, a sense of direction, an unexpected idea. These are not coincidences. They are divine whispers guiding your path. To align with divine power is to trust those impressions, to act from the quiet certainty that they carry. The more you honor them, the more clearly they speak. The more you align, the more naturally life unfolds. The sacredness of morning does not belong only to a few. It belongs to all who awaken with awareness. The divine meets each soul exactly where it is, asking only for recognition. When you give that recognition, you open the flow of power that sustains and directs everything. You do not need elaborate rituals. A single sincere moment of alignment is enough. A breath of intention, a word of truth, a thought of love. These are keys that unlock the day's hidden blessings. When you align before the world speaks, you are not escaping the world. You are transforming your relationship to it. You begin to see through the eyes of spirit rather than through the eyes of fear. You respond with calm instead of reaction, with clarity instead of confusion. You become the quiet center in the turning wheel of events. Your very presence begins to radiate balance. Those around you feel it, even if they cannot name it. You become a living reminder that peace is not found in the world but carried into it. Each morning holds infinite potential, yet it is you who must claim it. Divine power is constant, but your awareness of it must be renewed. Just as the body requires nourishment each day, so does the spirit require remembrance. To align each morning is to feed the soul with light. You drink from the well of strength before the journey begins. You attune to the rhythm of divine order so that even when the world grows loud, your inner harmony remains unbroken. So, to the well of unknown, you unloose the divine order so that even when the world grows loud, your inner harmony remains unbroken. The morning is sacred, a moment when heaven leans close and the heart can hear. It is the doorway through which the unseen enters the seen, the hour when thought becomes destiny. When you align with divine power before the world speaks, you do not merely begin your day, you create it. Excuses block miracles. Faith opens every door. Excuses are the soft disguises of fear, the subtle ways the mind delays its own power. They whisper, "Not yet," "not me," or "not possible," and in doing so they shut the gate through which good desires to enter. Every excuse is a refusal to trust the divine law that governs creation. When you say, "I can't," you do not describe a fact. You pronounce a command that life obediently fulfills. The law of spirit takes you at your word, for it mirrors belief without question. Excuses are not harmless habits. They are declarations of limitation dressed in the language of reason. They appear as logic, but they are really the voice of doubt, pretending to be wisdom. They are the walls that the ego builds to feel safe, yet those same walls keep out the very blessings it longs to receive. The moment an excuse is made, energy withdraws. The channel of power narrows. Faith cannot flow where resistance is built. The one who continually explains why something cannot be done is quietly affirming that the universe is weak, that the divine cannot move through their circumstance. Yet the truth remains that infinite intelligence never runs out of ways. It does not need conditions to be perfect. It only needs the soul to be open. Miracles are not rare events reserved for saints or mystics. They are the natural results of belief unclouded by excuse. When you remove the "but" from your declarations, you invite divine order to act without obstruction. Excuses are the language of separation. They are born from the idea that you and your source are divided, that your power depends on outer factors. Faith, however, knows that nothing external can oppose the law of good once it is spoken in truth. The one who has faith does not measure the possible by appearances. Faith is the inner knowing that divine intelligence is always active, always able, always present. When you hold that awareness, excuses lose their voice. You no longer say, "I would, but," for you know that the power that created worlds can surely create a path for you. Excuses often wear the mask of humility. The mind says, "I am not ready," or "I am not worthy," thinking it is being modest. But true humility does not deny power. It acknowledges the source of it. False humility shrinks from life. Real humility opens to it. When you say, "I am not ready," you affirm delay. When you say, "Divine timing works perfectly through me now," you align with the eternal present, where all readiness already exists. The difference between those two statements is the difference between struggle and flow. Faith speaks from completion, excuses speak from postponement. Every time you give an excuse, you teach your consciousness that delay is acceptable. You create a habit of postponing your own good. The law of life will not override your permission. It will wait as long as you do. But the instant you remove the excuse and replace it with faith, movement begins. The unseen forces that seem dormant suddenly spring into action. Circumstances shift, opportunities appear, and energy returns. Faith is not merely belief in words, it is the magnetic power that draws substance into form. When faith speaks, the universe listens. When excuses speak, the universe stands still. Excuses also come from the memory of failure. The mind, conditioned by the past, gathers evidence to justify its fears. It recalls when things did not work, when doors seemed closed, when prayers felt unanswered. Then it says, "I tried before, and it did not happen." But the law of spirit does not recognize time as the human mind does. Every new moment is untouched by history. The only thing that repeats failure is the repetition of the same belief. Excuses keep the old vibration alive. Faith breaks the pattern. Faith says, "Though I have fallen before, the divine in me never fails." And at that instant the old story dissolves. Excuses block miracles because they deny the infinite. They draw lines around what is limitless. They tell life how far it can go, instead of allowing life to move as it will. The divine never asks for permission to bless, it waits only for acceptance. Excuses withhold that acceptance. They are closed doors that only you can open. The power that could heal, prosper, and uplift stands at the threshold, waiting for the moment you say, I am ready, I am willing, I believe. That single act of faith is enough to undo years of delay. The law responds instantly because it was never inactive. It was only waiting for your consent. Faith opens every door because it operates in the consciousness of unity. It does not see obstacles, it sees opportunities for power to express. When faith speaks, it speaks from the certainty that what is desired already exists in the invisible and is now moving toward visibility. It knows that every seeming block is only a shadow cast by unbelief. The moment light enters, the shadow disappears. Faith is the inner sun that dissolves excuses without argument. It does not debate with fear. It simply shines until fear can no longer exist. To live by faith is to live by the invisible law of good that never fails. It is to walk as though every resource, every connection, every answer is already aligned for you. It is to know that divine timing is not delay but precision. Faith does not wait in anxiety, it stands in assurance. It does not beg for miracles, it expects them as the natural result of divine order. When you speak from faith, your words carry command. They go forth charged with authority because they come from conviction rather than uncertainty. The moment faith replaces excuse, creation begins to respond. Excuses also hide in the language of comparison. The mind says, others have more opportunity, or they are luckier than I am. Such thoughts deny your unique channel of divine expression. There is no competition in divine law, only cooperation. Your good cannot be taken by another, nor can another's good replace yours. The universe has infinite supply and infinite methods of delivery. Faith knows this and therefore feels no jealousy, no resentment, no sense of lack. Excuses say, there is not enough. Faith says, all that is mine by divine right now comes to me in perfect ways. The one who holds this attitude moves in harmony with abundance, while the one who makes excuses remains in the vibration of scarcity. The habit of excuse-making weakens the creative will. Each time you justify inaction, you teach the subconscious that your word is uncertain. But when you act in faith, even in the smallest way, you restore power to your word. The subconscious, being the obedient servant of your conviction, begins to trust again. It believes what you tell it. Say, I can, and it strengthens you to do. Say, I will, and it aligns the body and mind to perform. Say, I am, and it calls into form the reality of your declaration. Faith turns words into commands. Excuses turn words into noise. The difference between one who manifests miracles and one who merely wishes for them lies not in worthiness, intelligence, or luck, but in the presence or absence of excuses. The one who refuses to excuse anything, not themselves, not conditions, not timing, stands as a clear channel for divine power. They meet obstacles with the calm certainty that every problem contains its own solution. Their faith is not blind optimism. It is alignment with the eternal truth that the universe is for them, not against them. Such a one may face challenges, but they are never defeated, because they do not allow an excuse to become their master. Every excuse is a small surrender of faith. Every act of faith is a dismissal of excuse. You cannot hold both at once. The moment you choose faith, excuses fall away naturally, for light and shadow cannot share the same space. Faith speaks in the language of certainty, saying, it is done. Excuses whisper, maybe someday. The universe responds to certainty. It waits for a clear command, not a hesitant request. When your word is firm, when your belief is unwavering, life reorganizes itself around your conviction. Miracles do not come to those who wait for proof. They come to those who act as proof. Excuses block miracles. Faith opens every door. For where faith dwells, limitation cannot remain. As within, so without. Your consciousness shapes your day. The world you see is not something that happens to you, it is something that flows through you. Every circumstance, every meeting, every experience is the echo of an inner vibration. Life is a mirror, reflecting back the images you hold in mind, the emotions you nurture, and the beliefs you repeat. Nothing appears on the outer stage of your life that was not first rehearsed in the secret theater of your thought. The invisible patterns of your consciousness are projected outward into form, and the outer world obediently reflects their tone. To change your world, you must begin where it begins, within. The law of correspondence is simple, yet profound. As within, so without. Your consciousness is the blueprint. Your environment is the construction. If the pattern within is confusion, chaos appears without. If the pattern within is peace, harmony unfolds around you. The outer world has no power of its own. It merely follows the inner command. This truth, once understood, frees you from blame, from victimhood, from the illusion that others control your fate. You realize that every experience, pleasant or painful, is an opportunity to recognize the state of mind that produced it and to choose again. You awaken each morning, you step into the field of your own creation. The thoughts you have nurtured through the night and the emotions you have entertained rise to greet you in the form of mood, expectation, and attraction. The day will not contradict the pattern you have established within. If you meet the morning with anxiety, the world will give you reason to feel anxious. If you meet it with faith, doors will open quietly and naturally. Your consciousness sends out signals, vibrations, magnetic impressions that gather matching experiences. The outer world cannot help but conform, for it is the servant of the inner command. Many believe that change begins with effort in the outer world, with rearranging circumstances, persuading others, chasing opportunities. But true transformation begins in silence. It begins when you turn inward and observe the thoughts that dominate your mind. If they are thoughts of lack, fear, or resentment, then the outer world must express those same qualities. But if you cultivate gratitude, confidence, and peace, then the same law will manifest those in visible form. It is never the world that must change first. It is the consciousness behind the world that determines everything. As within, so without. This is not a poetic saying, but a spiritual law as precise as gravity. Whatever is impressed upon the inner becomes expressed in the outer. The mind is the mold, and life is the liquid substance that takes its shape. That is why no one can truly hide their state of being. The vibration of consciousness reveals itself in expression, tone, posture, and circumstance. A mind at war cannot produce peace, no matter how much it wishes to. A heart full of love cannot create anything but harmony, no matter where it stands. The universe does not listen to words alone. It listens to frequency. What you feel and believe within is what the law of life translates into visible experience. Your outer world acts as a teacher, showing you the contents of your inner one. If you find yourself surrounded by confusion, ask, where in my thinking have I allowed confusion to live? If conflict seems constant, ask, what belief in struggle have I accepted as true? The world is a classroom, not a punishment. It reflects what you need to see in order to remember your creative authority. When you shift the inner, the outer cannot resist following. It has no will of its own. It must obey the higher vibration of consciousness. There are those who spend their lives rearranging the outer effects while ignoring the cause within. They fight circumstances, argue with people, and try to force change through willpower alone. Yet until the inner atmosphere shifts, the outer results return, again and again in different forms. One may change jobs, move cities, end relationships, but the same themes appear, because the consciousness behind them has not changed. The only lasting transformation is born from the inside out. When the inner attitude becomes aligned with truth, harmony appears effortlessly. When love fills the heart, new opportunities blossom where there was once struggle. The mind is a garden. Every thought is a seed. You cannot plant seeds of fear and harvest joy, nor can you plant seeds of anger and expect peace. What grows in the garden of your life is determined entirely by what you allow to take root within. The gardener who tends their soil with care, removing weeds of doubt and bitterness, soon finds that beauty and abundance flourish naturally. Likewise, when you choose to nurture thoughts of strength, gratitude, and faith, your outer world reflects that order. The divine law cannot be deceived. It always produces after its kind. To understand this law is to step into responsibility, but also into freedom. You no longer blame the world or the people in it for your experience. You no longer wait for circumstances to grant you peace or happiness. You recognize that the cause lies within your own vibration. This realization does not condemn, it liberates. For if you have created your current conditions through thought, then by changing thought, you can create new ones. You become the conscious artist of your life, shaping experience with awareness and intention. Your emotions are the language through which your consciousness speaks to the universe. Each feeling sends out a frequency, and that frequency calls back its likeness. Joy attracts more joy. Fear attracts more fear. The outer world becomes a mirror that faithfully reproduces the tone you emit. This is why it is essential to cultivate inner harmony before seeking outer change. When your emotions are calm and your mind anchored in truth, the outer world becomes gentle and cooperative. The people around you respond differently, not because they have changed, but because your vibration has shifted. The law of correspondence works in every area of life. Relationships, health, success, abundance, all are reflections of the inner state. A relationship filled with misunderstanding often mirrors inner conflict. Financial struggle often mirrors a hidden belief in limitation or unworthiness. The body too mirrors consciousness. Tension in thought becomes tension in form. Yet as soon as you change the inner belief, the outer begins to transform. Healing follows realization. Prosperity follows gratitude. Harmony follows forgiveness. The universe rearranges itself to match the new frequency you have chosen. When you remember that consciousness shapes your day, you begin to live deliberately. You no longer rise and drift into reaction. You prepare your inner world before stepping into the outer one. You fill your mind with affirmations of truth. Divine order governs my life. Everything I need is already provided. I am guided in perfect peace. These words are not mere recitations. They are vibrations that condition the atmosphere of thought. As they settle into the subconscious, they attract experiences that confirm them. The law has no choice but to manifest according to the pattern you establish. Each morning, before the outer world begins to speak, take a moment to tune your consciousness to harmony. Breathe in gratitude. Think of light filling every cell of your being. Feel peace as a living presence within you. The vibration you generate in those moments becomes the undercurrent of your entire day. When challenges arise, they dissolve in the strength of that alignment. When people approach, they feel the calm that emanates from you and respond with respect or ease. The outer world becomes a reflection of the peace you have established within. Even the smallest thought carries creative power. Every inner word sends ripples through the unseen field of possibility. You may not see the effect immediately, but the law is always active, always exact. The thought held in feeling becomes form when its vibration is consistent. That is why persistence in right thinking is essential. You cannot think harmony one moment and chaos the next and expect order to prevail. The inner world must be steady, confident, and unified in its vision. As within, so without. If you desire more beauty, cultivate beautiful thoughts. If you desire more kindness, cultivate gentle understanding. If you desire more abundance, cultivate gratitude for what already is. The universe mirrors your inner atmosphere with mathematical precision. When you radiate peace, peace meets you. When you live in faith, doors open effortlessly. When your consciousness expands, your world expands with it. Every outer event is a messenger reminding you of your inner state. Every circumstance an opportunity to create anew from the invisible realm of mind. Decree your good. The universe obeys the voice of belief. Every spoken word is a decree, every thought a silent command, every emotion a current of energy shaping the unseen. The universe is alive with intelligence and precision, responding not to chance, but to consciousness. When you decree your good, you are not begging the world to deliver it, you are commanding the law of life to reveal what is already yours by divine right. You are the voice through which infinite power expresses itself into form. The moment you speak from faith, creation begins to rearrange itself to fulfill your command. Words backed by belief move mountains, because they vibrate with certainty. The universe does not resist your decree, it mirrors it. To decree your good is to speak from authority, not from desire alone. Desire without conviction is only a wish, but a decree carries the vibration of completion. It declares what already is, not what might be. When you say, "I am prosperous," with the consciousness that prosperity is your natural state, you align with the infinite source of supply. When you say, "I am whole," you awaken the divine pattern of health already within you. The law of the universe is obedient to the tone of your belief. If your words are filled with doubt, they carry no power. But if your words are filled with knowing, the unseen forces hasten to obey. The decree does not create the good. It calls it forth from the invisible into visibility. Your decree is a declaration of alignment. It is not about commanding others or manipulating conditions, but about speaking from the truth of your divine nature. The universe responds not to empty words, but to the consciousness behind them. When you decree, "All things work together for my good," and you feel it with unwavering faith, you set in motion a series of invisible adjustments that bring harmony where there was confusion. Events begin to shift, people are moved, circumstances evolve, all to fulfill the patterns spoken in faith. The decree must be spoken with authority and then released with trust, for doubt recalls the command and delays its fulfillment. There is a sacred difference between asking and decreeing. Asking implies that what you desire is absent, that you are separate from your good. Decreeing affirms unity, that what you desire already exists in the divine substance and is now manifesting through perfect law. Asking may come from fear, decreeing comes from knowing. When you decree, you do not hope, you declare. You do not wonder if the universe will respond, you know that it must. The divine law is impersonal, precise, and responsive to vibration. Whatever you decree with conviction becomes law in your experience. Every soul possesses this authority, though few use it consciously. Many speak words of defeat without realizing they are decreeing delay. Every complaint, every fearful statement, every declaration of lack is a negative decree. The universe does not discriminate between positive or negative, it simply fulfills the vibration sent forth. When one says, "I never have enough," life echoes back lack. When one says, "Everything always works out for me," life rushes to confirm it. The spoken word is never idle. It is a seed that cannot fail to bear fruit after its kind. Therefore the wise guard their speech as sacred, speaking only that which they wish to see made visible. To decree your good is to speak from the center of divine certainty within you. It is to stand in the consciousness of I am, the eternal identity of being. When you say, "I am successful," you are not pretending, you are acknowledging your spiritual truth. The outer world may not yet reflect it, but the moment the decree is spoken in faith, the process begins. The visible must follow the invisible, for the law of correspondence cannot fail. You do not need to know how your good will appear. The how belongs to the law. Your part is the decree. Clear, confident, unwavering. The power of decree lies not in force, but in alignment. You cannot decree from fear or impatience. Such words carry mixed vibrations and produce confusion. The true decree is calm, assured, and simple. It springs from the realization that the divine is already expressing through you. You do not command the universe as a master commands a servant. You cooperate with it as consciousness directs energy. When your word and your belief are one, creation moves instantly. The energy of the decree travels through the unseen substance of life, shaping it like sound, shaping sand into perfect form. Decreeing your good also requires that you release contradiction. You cannot declare abundance in the morning and speak of lack in the afternoon and expect harmony. The law responds to consistency. If you decree peace, you must remain in peace, regardless of outer appearances. The vibration of your decree must be sustained by your emotional atmosphere. Faith is not a momentary affirmation, it is a living frequency. Every thought, word, and feeling must align with your decree, for the universe listens to the total vibration, not just the surface statement. The decree gains power through repetition and emotional conviction. Each time you affirm your good with feeling, you deepen the imprint in consciousness. The subconscious accepts the word as truth and begins to act upon it. It guides you intuitively, magnetizes opportunities, and harmonizes conditions to fulfill your spoken command. You do not need to struggle or strain, you need only to maintain the awareness that your decree is law. The invisible does not forget. Once a decree is made with faith, the process of manifestation is inevitable. Decree your good daily. Let your first words each morning be words of creation, not reaction. Before the world speaks to you, speak to it. Say within, today divine order governs my life. Everything I touch prospers. I walk in peace, power, and purpose. As you hold this vibration, you attract matching experiences throughout the day. People will seem friendlier, circumstances smoother, paths clearer, because the universe is simply mirroring your decree. Your outer world must conform to the inner command. Decreeing your good also means speaking good for others. Every word of blessing you send forth multiplies and returns. When you say, "May divine success and joy fill their life," you open channels of the same energy to flow through you. The universe knows no separation. What you decree for another, you decree for yourself. Speak blessings freely, for the law of life expands through generosity. Your decrees create ripples of harmony that extend far beyond what you can see. The art of decree is the art of remembering your oneness with the creative source. The words "I am" are the most powerful in the universe, for whatever follows them becomes a command to the unseen. When you say "I am peace," peace establishes its throne within you. When you say "I am confusion," confusion answers your call. The "I am" within you is the voice of the infinite declaring through form. Use it wisely, for it is the sacred key to creation. The moment you speak it with faith, the universe listens as though the divine itself had spoken, for in truth it has. When you decree your good, you rise above appearances. You do not deny what seems to be, you declare what truly is. Appearances are temporary reflections, decrees are eternal truths. The body may show weakness, but the decree of strength activates the law of restoration. Finances may appear limited, but the decree of abundance awakens the flow of supply. Every decree is a seed of transformation. It begins invisibly, then blossoms outward through perfect timing and channel. To decree your good is to live in partnership with the divine. It is to understand that your word, when spoken in faith, is law unto your world. The creative substance of life is waiting, eager to obey, ready to shape itself into whatever pattern belief provides. You are never without power, never without voice, never without authority. The universe listens, the law responds, and life becomes the reflection of what you decree.